Good morning. It's 10:02, so I'm almost on time. My name's Richard Murray. This is the Zidim channel where I talk about trains and, 3D printing with that and anything that involves either of those subjects. And today I got a few things that are a little bit different. I'm going to have to find out which screen I have shared here. We had a busy week last week. We were at our weekend. We were at the Calgary and Comic Expo. So let's see, what do we have here? I'm going to bring this over, fire it up. What do we do at the Calgary and Comic Expo? Well, we had a lot of fun. Come on, there we go. Well, the most important thing is this is displaying on the wrong screen. Bear with me. Oh, nope, wrong one. Well, let's see if I can do it this way. And slideshow, we, as I said, had a lot of fun. And I guess this computer only wants to work this way, so I will have to make a quick change over here. And we'll say, computer, behave. I have to get my glasses out. Sorry about that. What I'm trying to do for you right now is tell my computer which screen to show this slideshow on. And slideshow will be this one. Okay, now if I do it, what do I get? There we go. Now I have what I want. So what I'll do is take you back. Here we are. Got a new hat, as you can see, and you may have learned about on the Friday night hangout. This is a good friend, Kevin Jeffson. Oh, almost 30 years ago. That's a scary number. He and I were both in the SCA, which is Society for Creative Anachronisms, and we ran around in armor in various battles amongst doing other things. So here he was selling corsets at the Expo. I decided I needed a new hat, went hunting, came back, and asked if I looked dignified enough. I guess I passed muster for that. What else do we have going on here? Brenna Superior Jello, you may have seen her. She's been on the Friday Night Hangout, as well as she has her own channel, Superior Jello. We built her 3D printer a week ago, and so that's what's running in the background. You can hear the printer going away. And, camera almost fell off. Let me adjust the side camera there. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Anyways, taking a look at some of the cosplay armor that was at the Expo. All sorts of cosplay stuff. I didn't take too many pictures, though. But here's another picture of Brenna. She's the one in white. Yes, she's joining the 501st. And beside her is another old friend, Radar. Known her for decades as well. Although she won't like me saying that. Just say I've known her for a while, I guess. But she jousts. I did the training many years ago. I've never actually broken a lance with anyone, and I don't think I'm in shape to do so in the future. But the old way of making armor there with the metal, and the new way with the Stormtrooper armor. And yes, there's the two of those ladies there. And another suit of the armor, the fellow that made it. This is Peter, Brenda's boyfriend. So they toured the Expo like that, and got to meet a lot of people. They talked with Landau Calrissian and Hodar. And of course, my brain can't remember who's who. But he's also into 3D printing. Now, one of the things that sort of surprised me about the Expo is that there was very little 3D printing there. It was noticeable in its absence. But that, I think, is starting to transition like everywhere else where 3D printing is moving into the world of the hobby. Doesn't have to be building and operating a 3D printer. The hobby is going to 3D printers as part of your tools, and that's what we're working on here with the Zidim channel, turning it into a tool. Now, some of the early things that I've printed off, I'll see if I can get a shot of it. I'm going to just twist this camera around, make sure it's what I have is in the scene. My desk is still a disaster area. Here, get these parts up, find out where the camera is. Okay, we built the Prusa. Let's see, I want there. Turn this. You don't need to see my gut. There we go. We built the Prusa about a week ago and love the machine. It's been running almost nonstop. The work that's been going on with it, some of it was getting ready for the Expo. Very tight time frame for that. The only thing I have a problem with this printer is the spool holder, and I think that's fairly universal. So I've printed out a new spool holder. I found this on Thingiverse. I'll find the thing number for it and I'll put it down below. But I actually have these plates backwards. There. Thinking that was a little bit tight. Must be on something over there. So there's your basic spool holder. Here, get out of the way. So with that, once again, found on Thingiverse, this will be going on top of an IKEA lac table. We have 4 of them over here, 2 for Brenna, 2 for me. We're going to build them, and the printers will be moving off to there. So, as I said, I think as the spool holder is a weak point. We did have one spool come off as we're doing some of our printing. I was using a roll of PET G, and those spools just don't work with this one. I jury-rigged a piece of pipe with it. Matter of fact, I've got the same jury rig up and running right now. Here. Let me grab that. Make sure I'm pointed the right direction. Here, got a spool of just plain black PLA from Atomic Filament. It's actually very nice, but come on, focus. I have my poor camera out here. That is a jury rig. So, give everybody motion sickness. There. Okay, so yes, the spool of the PET G came off there. I had to stop the print, clean everything up, and restart. Nothing injured other than that bit of a print. Fortunately, it just started. So we'll put them into the lac tables. You need not only the spool holders, but a guide to put it through the hole in the lac table that we'll be drilling. That is where I'm also going to put a sponge holder for wiping the filament. The biggest thing I have here is getting cat and dog hair on it, but of course there'll be dust as well, so we'll put that on there. Now, my one understanding about when you do that is you got to take the foam off if you're printing one of the infilled filaments, something that's very coarse, like the wood or the glow in the dark. So we'll make sure that it's easy to pull the foam out. Now, another thing that's coming up, you can see just past the microphone here. There. Well, there's my hat, and my hat sitting on the second original Prusa MK2S. It arrived yesterday, and I'm going to be building that on Saturday. I'm going to start that stream at 10 a.m. as well. My co-host Brenna may not be joining me right away. We'll have to see when she comes live and makes herself visible. She's not a morning person. But anyways, That will be Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So that'll be a lot of fun. Just while I'm talking about things coming up before I get into the other items for today, let me just put these out of the way. Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, I'll be hosting the Friday night hangout. Don't know who all is going to be coming on. Understand there's some holidays in some areas and some people will be away. So we will get that organized, but you'll find that here on the Zidim channel. So come and join us here. And that'll be Friday, 10 p.m. I believe the host, well, I'm hosting this time. Breno will host another time. I believe the topic for this week will be the myth of 3D printing. So that goes on. We try to stick on topic for the first 2 hours, and then we move on. The rules get lifted, and the conversation just goes from there. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to show you. Let's make sure I can get that on screen. Here, let's go back to here. And there we go. Screen main. There's always a lot of fun at Expo, a lot of amazing outfits at the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo. Here, I just want to show off one. Going along, actually, I followed these folks into the Expo on the Friday. See if I can get this to play. Come on, where's the play button? There we go.
That's wonderful.
Isn't that great? I absolutely love that. I thought it was fantastic. You know, the work that goes in to these costumes. So just imagine what it'll be like when we invade the cosplay arenas with more 3D printing. I know people are doing it. There's some wonderful stuff out there, but I think there's going to be more mainstream work with it. So what's going on with today's topic? Let's see. I do have the right screen set up here. Well, first of all, I have one problem with this part that I made. This is just the prototype for it before I printed out in PETG. I just did it in PLA. Looks very nice, but I am concerned about the amount of material that's on the outside of, let's see if I can do it here, outside of the screw head. May not be a big deal. Most of the structure will be based on here. There is a few millimeters of support there, but just to make sure that it's going to work right, I'm going to add a little bit to this. So in order to do that, I need to bring up the file. So I will get this here and then swap the screen over. And this will be the joy of parametric modeling. Fusion does take a few minutes to fire up here. I guess, well, that's firing up. What I could also do, beyond just printing that, I've been printing other things. And they include, here, is this actually firing up? There. I'll possibly have two copies. Of course, the spinner. Everybody has to have a spinner. This one was in PETG, and it's going too fast for the PETG. I have to slow it down. But I wanted to have something here. I'm going with the style of putting nuts in there, and yeah, only maybe 10 minutes within Fusion 360 to get that up and running like that. But the bearings I have, they're not as flexible, but we'll see how this goes. And to get there, I started here. I haven't been downloading any files for these things. I've been making them myself. This one, giant, you can't use it. It's too big. I had no dimensions for it whatsoever. Once again, there's the one, my first prototype, and then the second. Then I went a little bit lower and tried a different style. So this is attempt number 2, and with it, I was using washers actually for both of these. I set them up for washers to actually be placed inside for the weights. Once again, too big. And I'll compare that with the little guy. So the little guy is the right size, just needs a better print. And here, I'm just killing one instance. I have 2 of these up and running. There. Okay, so as I said, we got the 3 of these up here. Once again, going through a design process, slowly making it better, and finally this is the right design. Maybe adding a fraction of a millimeter on the outside of this just to give a little bit more freedom to it, but works. So I'll play with that some more and have to play with my pet G settings some more. So as I mentioned, I want to make some changes to my design here, so we will have a look at that. There we go. And get rid of that window. Where's my models here? There's my parts. And that was this one here. I have to look at my names, make sure I get the right version. Yep, that's the right one. There we go. So we have this here. Come on. What am I doing here? We got the various axes on here. So this space here is my concern. So what do I want to do? I'm going to take a look here, look at the sketches. I want to look at sketch 1. I don't need to see the bodies right now. Okay. What's going on here? I want to see my sketches. There we go. And don't want that one, don't want that one. Here's my original sketch. And I have this line here. And it was at 60, and I want to deal with the dimensions of this line here. Okay. I don't want to draw a line, so let's go from that. There. If it was 60, I want to make this 63 millimeters. Stop sketch. And let's turn on our bodies again. And we can turn off the sketches at this point. And once again, there we go. You can see that the space has been added on automatically. That's all it took to make the change. Oh, wrong camera. There we go. No, I don't want that one. I want, there we go. Too much technology around here. Anyways, that was the change I wanted to make. So, there. I'll add that screen up top. That's how fast it is with parametric modeling. All I need to do now is we'll do that. Let's save this. It's all saved. I'm just going to put a note in on what that was. Okay, we have our part. Now, I say, let's make that 3D print. We are not going to send it to a utility. And we have our selection. Okay. And this is going to be under models. And this is a project. And it's for my greenhouse. This is greenhouse pipe 4 wide. There. The STL has been saved, and I guess I'm just going to close this off for the moment. So if I go back into the top here, I love this shot from the space station, seeing how small or how thin our atmosphere is. Anyways, we are here, and now I have to apologize for this part here, in that I should be using the slicer, or the slice with the 3 on it. Thing is I know how to use Simplify 3D, so I use it. So that's something that, it's just the way I do things. I know how to use it, so it's easier. But I have to force myself to learn how we're going to do this. So there's our part. We got more space on there. The process, and this is one thing I'm really bad, as I've been playing around on here. I've been not saving my various processes, so I have that. We are going to do this in PLA. No, I'm going to put it in PET already. Okay. And infill on here, the infill is actually going to be, yes, we'll push it up a little bit. I want to look at the layer. Where is layer heights? We're good there. Here's our solid layers. Okay. I'm adding 4. We're good there on the primary. Honeycomb will do for me. We're changed it to 30%. That's fine. Supports are not needed for this. Temperatures, I've been just heating up the bed a little bit more before, and 235. That's what I like on there. Cooling, the fan, 75%. Now, I haven't played with my fan settings much there. Anything else? One thing I have to come back in here and make sure that I have turned this off. I do use it from time to time. So it's just something for me to double check. So we should be good there. And so we'll fire this through. There we go. Oh yeah, here. Just a little bit of honeycomb infill there. All we need. Should be good. And so we'll save that. Now, the other thing that I have made a habit of is, here we go. This is pipe 4 wide. I put into the description what I've set it up for. Or not in the description, right in the name, so you can see right there that this one is for Pat G. Save. Done. Okay, we're out of here. So that was my task for the there, just fighting with another tool. It says it's still waiting. It says I'm screaming. Let me look at my screen health. Well, stream health. No, not that one. That's next project. I have a question mark beside my stream health. So I'll have to see what's going on here. I don't know why the health is questionable on here, but we are up and running. So having seen, double check that, make sure I have the audio going on there. What's my next task? My next task is for the train layout at the museum. We're making a N scale portable layout, and let's see, where did I have that popping up here? I have an image somewhere. Ah, there. Hello. I don't know what's happened here. There we go. That was weird. Okay. So, what I have to do is make an N-scale tunnel for the portable layout at the museum. And what that's about is this is a layout that's built on a widened door, and it's something that we're making so it's portable, so it can be moved around, taken to our trade fair, our fall fair. We have a country fall fair here at something we can get out that way. But 3D printing and scale, normally I don't think you would consider doing that much, but for a tunnel portal that's going to be seen off in the distance, I think we can make it work. So before I toss this onto the other screen, I just want to show that this is from the NMRA, and this is their recommended clearances. And with my mouse here, you can see this first one. That is for very early period. They call it the old time, pre-1920. So that's the size of tunnel they would have been building there. That's minimum clearances. So for classic era, they have the time frame here, 1920 to 1969. You would use clearances like this. And for the modern era, you would use clearances like this. Now, I am going to go with the modern era. So what we need to know is exactly how big things are going to be. All I really care about is how tall and how wide. So I'll add those dimensions up. And this is the modern era. Here's a reference table for the old time and classic and modern. So here, I'm going to use this chart as my basis for the work. So take that off to the side and bring this over where I can read it. And then we already have Fusion up, and within Fusion 360, first thing you do is construct, no, cancel, let's assemble a new component. What is this component? This is N scale tunnel 1. And this truly is an experiment. Part of it is we don't know if we want a double portal or not. I think the tracks are not close enough to make it. Let's see, I'm going to start from the front. There we go. So, as I said, yes, the parts will or the tracks are not wide enough for having it as a double portal. It'll be two separate portals, maybe offset. That'll add a little bit more interest, which means there'll be a little bit more to my design in this basic shape that I'm about to make, but we'll get there. So one of the questions comes up with this is what style I'm going to do it, how what will the top look like. The plan that we were just looking at, or the details that we were just looking at, showed that the roof was square and I want it to be round. So what I'm looking for, it's circle. See if I can push this up there for there. I have to really rearrange this desk so I can make it work right. It's going to have the side portion. Just a standard shape. And we'll put a keystone in there. End scale, there can't be too much detail. And what I'm actually hoping to do is just for one side, I'm going to add a piece in here. Now, since that's flat, it might be, well, actually, it's going to have to be rounded. So I am going to have to print that because you're going to see the shape, the curve of this going through. So I need to print this part. So the face gets printed and half of a tunnel liner, a couple inches long, will get printed. So the next question is, how big does this need to be? Well, let's go back to my charts here, screen main, and what do I want on the screen? I want that tunnel portal. Where did it go? Is that on here? Yes, there it is. Bring that over. So we need to know A, which is half the width, and I need to know H, which that's basically all night. That's the height, half the width. I don't care about the G or B. We'll come out this with rounding. This means that if I'm going through curved, this G area, I guess, is the important one. So I do need to know G. So let's make a note of what I'm doing here. This is A. Just so you can see what I'm working on here. That's the A dimension. This is the H dimension, minimum height. And our clearance for the curve, I should put it here. This area is G. So I got the dimensions I need for this tunnel. I'm going to go down. Modern dimensions. A is in end scale 17 millimeters. And H is 44 millimeters. G in N is 11 millimeters. Okay. I have my dimensions. And that's just for the clearances on the inside. This is minimum clearances. So I can put this away. Now, the other thing I have to come up with this is how big am I going to make that? And this is something I can express easier. I'm going to make the width here 15 millimeters. And this dimension up here for the keystone, I'll be another 15 millimeters, and I'll have to work with that. So let's design a tunnel. And remember, I'm here to screw up so you don't have to. Just put that off to the side. There we go. So once again, I've already created this as a component. How's the print coming? Yeah, the print's coming along. Should be nearing the end. We had 2 fails with that print, and I'll explain why in a moment. But anyways, I got a top surface. I've got basically 2 lines to build with this. So I'll build the outer portion first. So first thing I need is a circle unit. So circle on here is C. I have to highlight this in here. I have to make sure that I have the right type of circle. I want a diameter circle there. And we'll find the height for this in a bit. And this is going to be 17 plus 17 is 34 millimeters. I can do that in my head, I know. I'm going to add a millimeter for tolerance on what I have here, so I'll make this 35 millimeters is what I did for that. Good. No, come on. Okay, so there's that. Now, I'm going to make a line here next. Come on. What did I say? There. There we go. Good. Finally, I need just a couple of construction lines here. So, that sketch line, or you just hit L. Come on, over here. And I got the line here, and I want this to be 44 millimeters. Good. So this line, I'm just going to put it in the center. There. So can I tie this, constrain that to the origin? Oh, we got that. So that's going to be the height. Now, what I have to be careful of, let's go look at the diagram again. Let's draw another line. And this will be over here, and this is another one, 35 millimeters. And this one, not 40. I actually get rid of that one. I don't want that line there. I have my circle there. I have to look at my chart again to make sure that double check shoulder width on here. That's the G. So the G width, which I put down as being 11 millimeters, so 22 millimeters is the line I need. So at this point up here, I need a line that it's going to be 11 millimeters across. I don't know, 22 millimeters. Is there a line type for this? I think I've line tools. Are there just the one? Okay. Guess the easiest thing would be is at this point here, place that one, and then start the line. And I want this to be 11 millimeters. Okay, this point here has to match what's up there. We're going to take this, nope, take you, grab you down, drop it down, that's on the center. There we go. There. That's what we have for our portal. So, we need more lines. First line will be here to the ground. We're going to keep on continuing. I wanted this part to be how big? 15 millimeters. And then let's continue our line from here up and top another 15. So 44 and 15 is 59. So I can just put in 59 there. And another line, one more there, directly across. There. So there's all our lines here. So from this, we have half of the tunnel. So now I have to select all this stuff. See if I can get it right. Got those. And what is the easiest way to do this? Under the sketch tool, and we're going to mirror this. Those items. Mirror line is here. No. Don't want to. I just want the 4. Okay. Select mirror line. There. And okay. There. This is the beginning of our object. So I want this face. Here, I'm going to save this at this point, and this is N scale tunnel portal 1. Save. There we go. So there's our basics for the beginning. So let's add a little bit of height. And our height comes up. We're going to press pull. I got that face, and we're going to make it make it 4 millimeters thick. Okay. We have that. There. That's the beginning of our tunnel portal. It'll work. Now, one thing before I do anything else with this, I want the basics like this here. I'm not going to do anything fancy to it until make sure we have the whole thing. Make 3D print. It's going out here. Okay. This is going into model. Let's see, projects. And here we'll make, do I have one just for trains? No, that's Facebook. Okay, let's go back to models. And I'll make a new folder here. I'm going to just call it trains, because we'll be putting a lot more in here. There's our trains. We'll make this one new folder, and this will be in scale tunnel portal, and here we're going to call this the basic portal 1. Why am I doing it this way? I'm doing it this way because I'm not going to do a lot of work on that object until I know that cancel. I move that import, and we're going to 3D printing models. Okay, trains. There we go. Landscape tunnel portal. There we got this open, and we don't want it printing that way. So we got our model. Edit. Come on. Yeah, we're in here. And rotate model. No, I don't want it on that plane. Okay. Well, come on, I've done this before. Oh man, this is such a basic thing that I should be able to flip this on its side 90 degrees. We can do this. That's not it. Oh, frame. I'm not doing a repair. I'm just changing how it looks. Don't need the normals. Just need to rotate you. All right, that's interesting. Why did you do that all of a sudden? Close to what I want, but go into the center again. Let's undo our rotation here. Got it there. Now, that's not what I wanted. Don't need to move it. Something so basic, and I'm stumped by it because I know how to do this. I've done it before, and I guess I'm allowed. I fiddle with that for a moment. It's suiting that someone who's joining the 501st have a miniature Darth there. It's coming out rather nicely. There he is. There we go. What's going on here with my model? Get back on the platform here. Center and range. You're there. Okay. If I reset this, there. Okay. And Y rotation is 90. Nope. X rotation is 90. There we go. Okay, let's undo that. Here, where were we? As that prints off. Okay. What I was trying to do, and I've done it before, and brain went away. There, double click on the object, and in this case, I'm doing a 90-degree rotation there. And I'll say I'm done with that. And then I have the option to redrop. There it is. There, we got the full thing. There, center and range. It's in the center. It's ready to go. So before I do anything else, I am going to print this off and match it to our space. Then I'll be coming back into the model. I have to add a keystone. That's about the only thing that might show up on here. I might try to put a date on the keystone, but this is going to be so small that I actually have some concerns about it because it looks like it's big, but looks like it's too big, but that's why we're going to deal with it. So what are we going to do with this? This one's going to be in PLA, and infill percentage is going to be like 10%. It doesn't really need it. Does not need support. There's infill very quick. There's not crossing the path on it. We are ready to go. So, oh, just one moment. Richard here. Just imagine some elevator music at this point. I'll actually find some. There we go. Sorry about that. Juggling. My phone tried dialing somewhere. Just juggling doctor's appointments. So we'll see what's happened with those. Anyways, as I was dealing with earlier, here we are back with the tunnel portal. I want to make sure everything works out with just a cheap print, cheap and dirty, get it out there, and we'll give it a test. So I'm not too concerned about this. Basic tunnel portal, models, trains, N-scale tunnel portal, and once again, I put right into it what I sliced it for. Good. That's done there. So we have a tunnel portal to work with. Let me change up here. There. So that was my goal for today. Now there are a couple other things I wanted to mention. First of all, one that I've seen on a few shows now, I have to watch. One thing we like to do as 3D printers is 3D printing people, our desiccant, our silica gel packets, whenever we get something with it, we keep them. I've seen them, though, come to people in boxes. Here is a bunch that you can use. Well, if they're not sealed, however long they've been stored in that box, they've been absorbing moisture and probably aren't worth anything. So you have to take that in mind. Now, where did I put it? I've been really happy. I've been getting filaments from a number of sources, and everything's been working fine until I got this. This is PLA, not very well identified. It just says, let the camera catch up to it, PLA on it. They don't have the other stats. I'm going to have to write them on there. I got some stickers for that. This PLA is from Foxsmart, and no matter what I do, it will not load in my printer. So I don't know why. It just won't go. As I say, everything else goes. I've checked the thickness. It averages 1. What was it here? Let's 0. We're good. Okay, are we up here? 1.76, 1.76, 1.7, 1.75. So the thickness is there. I've had pieces. This one's actually doing quite well. You can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, that's a good thing. I've just been bending this, and it takes the bend. Now, I've had other pieces, as I've been fighting with it, you just give it a little bend, and the whole thing just snaps. So this was made in China. I think this is the only filament I have that was made in China. Everything else made in United States, England, or Canada, or somewhere in Europe. But as I said, no matter what, I can't get that to load, and I don't have a solution for that. So hope to figure that one out, see if I can find something out on the Facebook groups, see if anybody has any ideas for me. So that's the other one, just those short 2 ones. If you are storing this desiccants or silica packs, make sure that you store them protected from the elements, as it were. Now, we have Darth printing over there. Said we had a couple of failures. This is our first try. And what happened with this was on the inside here, I had turned generate supports to generate only from the print bed. So we have these supports, and then I had nothing on the inside except for a bowl of spaghetti as it tried printing the head. So I'd forgotten I'd done that, didn't double check, here's some of the spaghetti, but that was entirely, my fault. Next, I think I've already disposed of them. No. Then I had this one. And the supports, what I did was I changed the distance between the supports up to 0.5. I think it was at 0.2. So 0.2 for this, very tight. The 0.5 was not strong enough for the center, and it just pulled apart. So I went to 0.4 for this one, and it's working fine. So once again, playing with the distance for the supports. And once again, simplify 3D. What I'm going to do is I'm going to force myself to use the Prusa 3D Slicer 3. All the reports out there that the only real thing you're missing in the Prusa one is the custom supports. I just started out with Simplify 3D. There's been taught in the chat areas that there doesn't appear to be much going into the updating of Simplify 3D. It doesn't seem to get a lot of current work on it, whereas Prusa Research is doing a lot of work on the slicer with the 3. I hate the name, but that's what we have. But anyways, they're doing work on there. They've done some really cool things. So I'm just going to force myself to start using that and figuring it out. And that's about it for today. I'm going to wrap it up. Don't forget, this Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, back on this channel, we will have the Friday night chat. The main topic is going to be on, come on brain, you did it, myths of 3D printing. And then that'll be for the first little while. We'll go on after that. Some of our regulars, I understand, won't be there. There's some sort of celebrations going on. So we'll see who shows up. But anyways, I'm always looking forward to that. Brenna will be here. And then on Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, we will be building the beast back there. My own 3D printer, so we can have 2 of these grinding away. Be safe out there, and we'll see you Friday night.